We see a big disadvantage gap, so big gaps between more affluent children and young people and their less well-off peers. That gap is, I think, a source of national shame. We're determined to make progress on that. That is part of the challenge we face as a country and how we equip our young people with what they need for the future.
So let me take that up. There is a related issue in your area around exams and extra time, and a disparity between those in the private sector. Almost twice as many in private schools are getting extra time because of neurodevelopmental disabilities than those in state schools. What is going on there?
I am concerned about the difference that you see there. However, what I should add is that, of course, there will always be circumstances where young people, through their teachers, seek time in the way that is required. But there is a difference there. This is something I've discussed with the regulator, Ofqual. I think what we can't, however, be clear about is whether that leads to different outcomes in terms of exam results. Yeah. And that's what they're looking to understand.
Are you concerned specifically because this might be an abuse of the system by those with enough money to send their kids to private school, or is the state system failing SEN pupils?
We do face a big challenge in the state system around support for children with special educational needs and disabilities. I'm determined to reform that system. That is a much wider question than just this area in isolation. What we know is that increasingly parents feel the system is not giving their children the support that they need. They've lost confidence. It's very adversarial. That's why the approach that I'm taking is delivering more inclusion within mainstream schools, moving to a system where there is more specialist provision within mainstream. And it's also why recently I set out experts that will come into the department to work with us, particularly on areas around neurodiversity, where I think we do need to look about how we make sure that all children get the support that they need to thrive.
What do you say to the parent of a child who hasn't got extra time in an exam but sees all of his or her peers getting this extra time, may have a couple of these behavioural characteristics? You know, they have every incentive to go for this. Is it not kind of running roughshod through the exam system?
Parents will always push for a good outcome for their child. I mean, that's human nature, of course it is. I think the challenge that we face is that we want to make sure the system is equitable. And there is a problem at the moment in terms of the differences that are there. It is why Ofqual as a regulator need to look at this carefully.
Let's just bring in Nick on that final issue there that Bridget Phillipson talked about, which is this extra time, this disparity between private schools and state schools. Interesting involvement of Ofqual, the regulator, the exam regulator.
Well, Faisal, those remarks by Bridget Phillipson to you show that the Education Secretary is clearly very worried that state school pupils are at a disadvantage in this area. So this dates back to data that was published by Ofqual earlier this month, and this found that 42% of pupils enrolled in independent schools received extra exam time in 2023-2024. The figure for pupil in non-selective schools was 26%. Now, all pupils are entitled to extra time if they have a condition such as ADHD or dyslexia. But the question is, are private schools better at using the system because they have better resources? The view in the Education Department is that this is a very big area. They are worried that there is this advantage there. Now, Bridget Phillipson at the time said that she spoke to Ofqual, and what they are going to be looking at is, has this extra time yielded better exam results? And if that has happened, that would be the definition of advantage.
So extra 7, 8s, 9s, and therefore better access to universities and all that stuff.